Today's 19 and 20 of my 25 days of Christmas. Hey everybody, it's Stephanie, and today I'm going to be doing a Q&A about my scoliosis and spinal fusion surgery. Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button to become a member of #StephSquad. Also, let's try to get this video to 50 thumbs up. Now let's get started. Today, December 20th, 2017, is my 7-year post-op anniversary from my spinal fusion surgery. I asked on my Instagram if anybody had questions about scoliosis or spinal fusion surgery, so now I'm going to answer them. What is scoliosis? Scoliosis, by definition, is an abnormal lateral curvature of the spine. Basically, it's just when your spine is curved, but it's not supposed to be curved that way. It can be curved in an S shape, a C shape, you can have a hunchback, it can be from side to side, it can be up high, down low. There's a lot of different types of curvatures. What causes scoliosis? Along with there being different types of scoliosis, there are many different causes. Some people are born with scoliosis, some people develop it. I don't know much more than that, but there are a lot of different types of scoliosis and ways that cause you to get scoliosis. How did you get scoliosis? We don't know for sure why I got scoliosis, but here's what we think, we being my parents and my doctors and myself, of why I got scoliosis. A quick abridged version is I have celiac disease, which means I cannot have gluten, which is a protein found in wheat, and I was diagnosed around the age of 9. And at the time, I was super malnourished and small, and my bones were brittle because I wasn't getting the nutrients I needed because we didn't know I had celiac disease. A couple years later is when I was diagnosed with scoliosis. So we think the reason I was diagnosed with scoliosis is because I was super weak and malnourished. I got diagnosed with celiac. I went on a gluten-free diet and my body started getting the nutrients it needed. I grew super fast with brittle bones, so we think that caused my spine to curve when I grew really fast with not very strong bones. But we're not for certain that that's the reason why. How did you know when you got it? I was at my 12-year checkup at the pediatrician and I was complaining of bone pains from growing, and so my doctor checked my spine and you couldn't see it curved when I was standing straight, but when I would bend over to touch my toes you could see a slight curve in my spine. But at the time my pediatrician said there's nothing to worry about, it's fine, it'll either like even out on its own, or some people just have slightly curved spines and they're fine. So the next year when I was 13 at the pediatrician, my doctor looked at my spine again and it was worse, and he could tell that it looked like I had scoliosis and that my spine was curved. So he sent me to an orthopedic surgeon to have x-rays to see what the curvature was and to make sure that's what he was seeing. And then once we received those x-rays is when I was officially diagnosed with scoliosis. So I was 13 years old. How long did it last? I don't know what this question is talking about. If it's talking about my scoliosis or if it's talking about the surgery. If it's talking about my scoliosis, I started developing scoliosis around the age of 12 and I still have scoliosis in my upper spine, so I will forever have scoliosis unless I got my upper spine fused. As for the surgery, I don't remember the exact hours, but it was between 2 and 4 hours, I think, maybe more. Does it hurt? Again, very vague question. Scoliosis before my surgery hurt really bad, which was one of the reasons why I got the surgery, because it became an unbearable pain that I couldn't live every day with. The pain during the surgery, like right after it, when I was still in the hospital, was one of the worst pains in my life, but I don't really remember that pain because I was on so many pain meds, it's kind of erased from my memory. The pain in recovery directly after, like when I was home, was again like that worst pain that I've ever felt, and I do remember some of it, but the meds block a lot of it out, and I think I've blocked a lot of it out. But yes, it hurt and hurt very bad. To this day, I have a lot of upper back pain. In my neck and upper back, I still have a curve and my shoulder blade is misplaced now from the surgery. I have more pain in my spine that isn't fused than my spine that is fused, but I do get lower back pain where my spine is fused. Say if I've done a lot of dancing or a lot of walking, I do get pain there too, but that pain's not daily. But I do have daily pain in my upper spine that's not fused because it's curved. Did you cry? Again, vague question. So when I learned I had scoliosis, I don't think I cried then. When I learned I had to have the surgery, I cried a lot. And I cried a lot like in between knowing I had to have surgery and the surgery date. And then obviously I cried a lot during the surgery because I was in so much pain and even in recovery. Do I cry about it anymore? No. What was your reaction after learning you have scoliosis? So just learning that I have scoliosis, I don't remember being like super upset. It was just kind of like, okay, that makes sense. I don't remember crying or anything or freaking out. It was more, sometimes you're happy to finally know what's wrong. So after scoliosis, I don't remember my reaction. I don't remember having a huge reaction. The reaction to learning I had to have surgery, I was so upset. I immediately started crying. I was kind of like fighting with my orthopedic surgeon, if I remember correctly, because I didn't want to have the surgery. I had just started at a new dance studio. I didn't want to have the surgery right now. I wanted it to wait until summer, but it couldn't wait. So I was really upset. And I was saying like, I'm gonna dance again, I'm gonna dance again. I don't care what happens. And he's like, that's, up to you and your body. Like, you can. And I was like, I will. And I just remember being extremely upset. I remember on the car ride home I was crying and I was just very unsettled with it for quite a while because I didn't want it to happen then. I knew it had to happen and I wanted to feel better and have my spine fixed, so I wanted it to eventually happen, but I did not want it to happen on December 20th, 2010. I wanted it to wait until after the competition season at dance, but it couldn't. Did you use any treatments before surgery? If so, what? My scoliosis, it was kind of like, oh, it looks like you have scoliosis when I was 12. And then when I was 13, they're like, wow, you have scoliosis, go get x-rays. And then it was like, okay, let's have x-rays every couple months. And then it was like, oh my gosh, your scoliosis is getting really bad really fast. And within weeks, the numbers of curvature, the degrees of the curvature got so bad so fast that there wasn't time for treatment. I was done growing, so they couldn't put me in a brace. They can only put you in a back brace if you're still growing. I was done growing. It wasn't gonna do anything. I do remember going to physical therapy. Mostly that was to manage my pain, if anything, not necessarily to fix my scoliosis because you couldn't fix it. But other than that, besides some physical therapy, we couldn't do anything. It was getting bad too fast. It all happened so fast, and that's why my treatment plan ended up being having my spine fused. What were your last thoughts before the operation, or the first ones you had when you woke? I honestly don't remember. The medicine they give you for big procedures has anesthesia in it to the point where it like erases some of your memory before and after. Also, it was 7 years ago and I was 13, so it's hard to remember. So I do not remember my exact thoughts. I do not remember waking up at all. I vaguely remember when I was in the pre-op room, but I don't even remember when they actually put me to sleep. So I'm not sure. Did you ever think you would pass away during the surgery? They do bring that up to you for all the risks that could happen. I could have lost a lot of blood. I could have had to have a blood transfusion. This could happen. I could have gotten a virus or an infection, so many things. They have to warn you about so many things. And one of them is, yes, death. You can die just from having general anesthesia. You could have died. I could have died. And I did worry about that. But it wasn't my biggest worry. My biggest worry was, I'm gonna dance again, honestly. How long were you in the hospital after the surgery? I was in the hospital for 5 days and 4 nights. I should have stayed in the hospital longer, but it was Christmas Eve and they really wanted me to go home. But my parents did wish that they would have kept me in the hospital longer to manage my pain better because I just wasn't ready to go home. Once I got home, it would have been easier on me had I still been in the hospital. But I did get to spend Christmas Eve evening and Christmas at home, which was nice. How did you feel when they were operating on you? I couldn't feel anything when they were operating on me because they completely knock you out. I was not awake at all. I don't remember dreaming, I don't remember being awake, I don't remember waking up, I don't remember going to sleep, I don't remember any of it, so no feeling. How did your back feel after the surgery? Directly after the surgery, I'm sure it felt like the most terrible thing in the world, but again, I don't remember it. But from my parents' perspective, I was in a lot of pain, like the worst pain ever. And then when I was home in recovery, again, I was still in so much pain. Were you able to walk around after the surgery? They had me sitting up, I believe, on the second day, and I think I started walking on the second day. definitely the third, but I think I was walking on the second day as well. Again, I don't remember it. I've just been told what happened, and some of it is hard to remember. How many medications did you take? A lot. I was on a lot of painkillers and all kinds of different medications. I don't even know what I was on because a lot of them, again, wiped my memory, but a lot of pain management medications to make sure I didn't get an infection, and medications like stool softeners and stuff like that. How many weeks were you in recovery? Technically, the entire first year after your surgery, you are not considered fully healed until 1 year. And there's different mile markers during the year. Like at 3 months, you can bend. I couldn't bend for 3 months. At 6 months, I could like ride my bike. And at 6 months is when I was supposed to start dancing. And then at 1 year, I could like do whatever I was up to. So technical recovery is about a year. For recovery in the hospital, I was there for 5 days. For recovery at home, like not going to school or anything, it was about probably somewhere around 6 weeks. I remember starting to go back to school slowly in the middle of February, and I started going back to church and youth groups slowly, and then I started like going to sit at dance, and then I started tap dancing, and I was dancing by 4 months because I felt up to it. What was the hardest challenge during recovery? I guess just getting through the pain. The pain is the worst part. You just want the pain to stop. You just have to wait. You just have to let your body heal. You take your pain meds. You do the exercises you're supposed to. You make sure you don't do stuff you're not supposed to. And it's just the waiting. The hardest part of recovery is waiting, and while you're waiting, you're in so much pain. And it sucks. Looking back, would you have done anything differently? I think my recovery went well. I think the choices we decided for when I went back into things worked out just fine. Like I said, I think the only thing that my parents would have changed is maybe keeping me in the hospital an extra day or two for pain management. But other than that, I think my recovery went really well. What were some activities you did during your recovery to keep you occupied? Major one is I watched all 8 seasons of Full House twice through on DVD, on a little DVD player during my recovery. I tried to watch Brady Bunch in between those, and I just didn't like it. At the time, I was just like, no, I have to watch Full House. I was so set on Full House because that was like my comfort show, and I love Full House. And so that was something I did. Also, I did arts and crafts and coloring when I was able to. And I also played like Facebook games and watched YouTube. Eventually, within a couple weeks, I started doing videos on YouTube again. So that kind of stuff kept me busy. Texting my friends, I would have visitors come over. But yeah, the main one I remember is Full House and just kind of sitting on the computer when I was able to sit up. Did you have physical therapy? If so, what did you do? I did have physical therapy, I believe, before and after the surgery, especially the physical therapy in the hospital, but like minus the hospital, I believe I had physical therapy before and after the surgery. Mostly it was back strengthening exercises, and they massage your spine and stuff to loosen your muscles, and you do different exercises to help keep your back strong and your core strong. Other than that, I don't remember anything specific. Was it hard to adjust to reality after the surgery? It was hard to get back into things. At the time I was in public school, I was in 8th grade, so I slowly had to go back to school. I could only go for 1 hour, and then 2, and then 3, and some days I'd have to come home in between, or some days I wouldn't be able to go at all, or only for part of the day, and I gradually was able to get back into it more and more. And with dance, same thing. First I just went and watched, then I was like tap dancing in a chair, and then I was able to tap dancing, but I wasn't able to jump, and it was all so gradual, and that's what was hard. I just wanted to jump back into it, just go to school, go to dance, go to church, go to youth group, but everything had to be gradual. I had to take baby steps so I didn't hurt myself. Was the recovery overall really difficult? Yes, it was definitely one of the hardest things I've ever gone through, but if I hadn't, I don't think I'd be the way I am now. It took so much perseverance because some people will just lay there and they won't do their exercises. They won't get up and try to do things. They won't get over that hump. Some people don't, and then their recovery ends up going not so well because their back is weak and they don't know how to do certain things. My recovery was extremely difficult in the sense that it's extremely painful. You're waiting for your body to heal, And also you have to keep your mental positivity up and determination, and that's where I got my never ever give up attitude from, was just getting through that. Does it affect your everyday life? Of course, yes, it does. It affects me. I wouldn't be who I am without it. As cliche or cheesy as it is, it's true. I just simply wouldn't be. But yes, the way I do things is because of my spine. I still have pain in my spine, especially my upper spine. It does affect my everyday life. Sometimes I don't think about it every day, but it's always there, and I have a scar to prove it. Does it affect you now the same as it affected you right after the surgery? No, right after the surgery I couldn't do anything. I couldn't bend, I was in bed, but I had to still get up and walk around, but I couldn't bend over, and I was in so much pain, so it affected me way different. It was way more severe and always on my mind after the surgery. But now it's I forget about it. It's not always on my mind, but if I bend over to open the freezer drawer and I tweak my back and I'm oh yeah, that's a thing. Or if I look in the mirror and I see my scar, those kind of things remind me of it. Or if my back starts hurting, or if I see one of my videos, it does not affect me now the same as it did before, no. Can you feel the metal in your back when doing daily tasks? I can, kind of. If I bend in certain ways, or if I bend in certain ways quickly, you can feel the resistance. Or if I can bend my back a certain way and I can feel, it feels like I have 3 spines because it's a rod, my spine, and a rod, so I can feel it, and it's actually really creepy. Normally it doesn't I don't feel it during things, but if I do bend or twist weird or actually purposely try to feel them, I definitely can. Can you physically bend your back? So I still have a lot of back mobility, and that's one of the reasons they didn't fuse my whole spine, because they wanted me to be able to dance and have the fullest potential I could, with still correcting the bare minimum they had to. They corrected the bare minimum. They could have gone more, and it may have helped my other curve, well it would have, but it may have hindered where I got in dance. My very bottom vertebrae is not fused, so I'm able to bend at my waist there just fine. And my top spine isn't fused, so I can bend just fine like that. But right in the bottom vertebrae, those physically cannot bend. They don't bend. They are stuck straight forever. But the rest of my back can bend, so it makes up for what can't bend. Had I fused my whole spine, I wouldn't be able to curve. I would only be able to go like this, which is one of the reasons why they fused what they did. How have you accommodated to the metal rods in your back? There are certain things in dance that I cannot do, and there are certain things in dance that I can't do like other people can, like an arabesque. When you do an arabesque, your back has to bend right where mine can't. So even though my legs are super flexible, I can't get my leg up any higher because my back physically doesn't bend there. That's always been a hard one for me, because I know I'm flexible, and I know that if my back could bend there, my arabesque would be gorgeous. But it's something I physically can't do. I can do an arabesque, but not to where I should be able to based on my flexibility, but because my back can't bend there. So to accommodate to that, it's just that I have to do a lower arabesque, and there's a lot of skills like that. And things like, one of the ones that I reference is opening a freezer drawer. If I just bend over to open it, it hurts a lot, but I have to remember to bend my knees so that I'm not bending right there in my back where it hurts a lot. So I have accommodated, and I'm sure there's lots of things I do that I don't even realize. Do you still suffer from symptoms? Yes, the biggest symptom is my upper curve still hurts every day. Right now it hurts. My neck hurts really bad right now. You wouldn't know that, but it does. Now you know. And that causes migraines and everything else. But my lower back, I get a nice reminder that that's fused when I've done too much. Say I've walked around in the mall too much, or I've danced too much. Not that you can dance too much. I feel it, and it hurts, and it's a terrible pain. It really is. It's different than just somebody's back hurting. It's deeper. So I do still have those issues, and I tire out more easily, like my back does, because of that. But I get around it, so it's alright. Did it cause anything? Like pain, tiredness, trouble breathing? If so, what? When they fused my spine, my spine was in an S shape, so they made it the bottom, so the bottom's straight and the top is just a small curve. It did move all my organs around. So my shoulder blade sticks out a lot, and that's why it causes pain, and that's my upper curve. It also moved my lungs and stuff around. I already have asthma, but it also kind of compressed my lungs, and so it does make breathing more difficult. I can still breathe fine, but there are times when it does affect my breathing, and it especially did right after surgery. I had so much pain up here after surgery because my muscles were physically moved and my organs and everything was moved. It wasn't just my spine being straightened, my body parts were moved. And so there was a lot of pain and achiness and tiredness to come after that. For the first couple years, I had to take a lot of naps, even if I got a good night's sleep, just because my body was still healing even after that year mark. When somebody physically opens your body and moves stuff around, adds some foreign objects, closes it back up, your body's gonna take a long time to heal. Has it made it hard for you to dance, and does it affect your dancing now? Just threw in a monkey wrench into my dancing, yes, because I had to first get through the recovery and the pain, and then get around the things that I can't do, such as like the arabesque. But there are so many things that I can do that I always focused on the can. I can leap super high, I can jump great jumps, I can turn, I can kick. I can do so many great dance moves that the small things or the few things that I can't do physically they don't mean anything. Whatever. I'll do my best at those, or I won't do them if I physically cannot, and I'll focus on the things I can do and work on those. So it did make dance harder in that sense. Does it affect my dancing now? Yes, it still affects my dancing because it's not going away, but the best part to me is where I was at in dance skill-wise before the surgery and where I was at after the surgery. Like say after a year of training, I was such a better dancer after the surgery than I ever was before the surgery. Part of that was because I was at a new studio and I learned a lot from that studio. But the other part is I had this whole new mindset of determination and never ever giving up, that it made my dancing so much better. I was such a better dancer, and I don't know if I would have become that great dancer if I hadn't had that surgery. Because, like I said, I was never at that level before the surgery, and it was just amazing. So it actually affected my dancing in a positive way. Brush the negatives aside, yeah, my arabesque can't go up to the back of my head, and I can't do one of those fancy needles where they pull their foot behind their head because my back doesn't bend that way. But let me show you what I can do. If you were doing back stretches, would you be able to feel the metal, and does it hurt? There are some stretches that I can feel the metal, and it's weird. It doesn't feel like metal, it just feels like your bone's in the way, really. And it's a weird feeling, and I normally just kind of stay away from those because it's very few stretches. Like if you lay on your stomach and you keep your legs down and you just lift your chest up because you're stretching like your it's stretching your back and your abs. I can like feel the resistance when I do that, and I hate that stretch. So I kind of just don't do that stretch because I don't like it because it feels weird. So I can feel it sometimes, but majority of the time, not really. And if I do, it's more of like a resistance feeling, not like, oh my gosh, there's metal in my back. Did it stop you from dancing through the years? No, I got back into dance like right away, and now is the least I have danced because I'm not at a studio on a team anymore, and I'm stuck in this like in between of I have to like practice on my own, and that gets hard. And it's not because of my back, it's just because it's hard to self-train. How did you have the motivation to never give up, and how do you stay so positive? I've always been a positive person, even before my surgery, but something changed when I had that surgery because that's what like really pushed my perseverance and my determination and my positivity and my optimism and my never ever give up attitude all really came together and came like out of me once I had that back surgery. The question is, how do I have the motivation, and how do I stay so positive? The how is because the biggest thing in life that's been my passion is dance, and it has been since I was 2.5 years old. So when something gets in the way of what you love, you can do one of two things. You can be like, alright, I'm just gonna forget about that. Let me just never dance again, and I'm just gonna go sit on the couch and I will just do something different. I don't need that anymore. I know I loved it for the past all of my life, but it's fine, whatever. I'm just going to give up. Or you can be like, whoa, hey, I see you put that roadblock in front of me and dance, and I'm not gonna put up with it. you're like, I'm gonna get around that roadblock. And it's just like this huge boulder. Part of you is like, there's no way I can get around that, but that optimism, that positive, that never ever give up part, if you let that shine through, if that's when it comes out of you, you will find a way to push that boulder aside. Even if you only have a toothpick that you are jabbing at that giant boulder until the entire thing is broken apart so you can get to dance again. And that's how it was for me. You can either decide to give up and let that boulder crush you and crush your dreams of whatever you loved, or you will figure out how to get through it no matter how long it takes. And that's what I did. Instead of giving up, I never gave up. Never ever give up. So how did I find motivation? How did I never give up? Is because I chose to. It's a choice. Every day you choose to be happy. Every day you choose to not give up. Every day you choose whatever you are doing. I'm choosing to make this video. You're choosing to watch it. You're choosing to sit at your computer or phone. I'm choosing to sit at my set. Everything is a choice. So it's your choice if you're going to be motivated. It's your choice if you're going to stay positive. And if you love something enough, you will choose that path instead of the path of I'm just going to give up. So that is how. How did this affect your time on the Stacks channels? I was on 7 Fabulous Teens at the time. I had actually just joined a few months prior. They were really understanding about it and they didn't kick me off or anything like that. They just said, all right, take the time you need to be away, and when you're ready to come back, you can come back and upload on your day. So I only took like 3 weeks off, and then I started making videos again. And I just had my mom help me make my videos, and I did videos like from my bed or videos that I didn't have to move around a lot. And it was actually a really positive experience. They were really good about it, and it actually helped me get out of bed and do stuff to make videos on YouTube again, because at the time I couldn't go to school and I couldn't go back to church or dance yet. So YouTube actually helped me a lot during that time because it gave me something to do from home while recovering. It was a really positive experience, and all of my fans at the time were all really supportive and happy to see me back, and everyone on the channel and the owners were all really good about it. So it was a really positive experience. I only have one more question, and if you are still watching, you're the real MVP. This was a lot, but I really wanted to share it with you all because I want to take my experience and inspire everybody that I can, and I want to help as many people as I can because as much as I don't want to say it, it sucks what I had to go through. But instead of wallowing about that, it's best to turn it into a positive experience, and it's made me who I am. And if I can help other people who have to go through it, or even people who don't have to go through it, just to help them and inspire them to be more positive, whatever it is that I do for you, that makes me happy. That's what I want to do. That's why I post YouTube videos. That's why I want to be a teacher. I just want to inspire people. So, the last question is a fun one, and it is, do you set off metal detectors in airports? I thought I would, but no. The metal in my back is titanium and steel, and those metals do not set off in the airport. Way back when people had this surgery, the metals were different and they did set off in the airport, so people had to carry around little cards that said, hey, I have metal in my body and that's why I'm going off. Also, it's not magnetic. You cannot stick magnets to my back and have them stick. Believe me and my friends have tried. It doesn't work. Again, it's not that kind of metal. That's just kind of a fun fact that you can tell your friends, because some people think that you would set off an alarm or that magnets would stick to me, but they don't. So that is all my questions, and I hope through all of that I have inspired you in some way or another, or helped you out, and that you enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this Q&A about my journey through scoliosis and spinal fusion surgery. If you have any more questions, feel free to comment down below and I will do my best to answer them all. Check out the description box down below for more information and links. Again, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to never ever give up, and I will see you all tomorrow for day 21 of StephKayCee's 25 Days of Christmas.